absolutely beautiful Aries friends, and welcome to your horoscope for 2024, where we are going to break down the year and see what is going on for that fiery fire energy of yours. But this year, we're taking it up a notch. We're getting a little deeper. We're going a little further with your horoscope so that you can maximize the energy of the cosmos and know what's on the docket for you for 2024. This year, you're not only going to get the annual report from me breaking down the movement of the outer planets and where this is going to create long-term emphasis for you, but I've also invited 4 other top astrologers to break down your horoscope by finance, relationship, medical and health, and also Tiffany Harlick is going to pull it all together at the end, give you spiritual and self-development for not only your year, but she is going to take you through quarter by quarter. So Aries, honey, let me tell you, when I say put this in your playlist, get a notebook, jot some things down, and prepare to spend some time with me, spend some time with us. That is exactly what I mean, because we are here to get you set for 2024. Now, before we jump in and look at your horoscope, please click in the description box down below to meet up, take advantage, get in contact with any and all of the astrologers that are going to be in your videos today, because all year we are committed to tapping in and being of service to you. So make sure you click down there, check us out. If you need specific help in finance or you need specific help with something in your spiritual development, you want to make sure you can get in contact with the one of us that can really, really help you. As well as we're traveling through 2024, my goodness, get your toolkit ready. Get your astrology toolkit ready. Click in the description box down below and get your digital transit calendar from our friends over at Y Skies Collective. It comes right to your phone so that you can know the transits that are happening. Now, the other thing you want to be mindful of, Aries, is that yes, in this video, I am going to break down what's happening in the outer planets for you, getting you an idea of a long-term theme, because it takes longer for those themes to actually pour out. But I will be with you every month, and I will also be with you every week. And if you're following me over on Instagram, I will be with you every day, walking you through the aspects that are happening. So make sure you're taking advantage. Everything you need is in the description box down below. And if you're ready, I'm definitely ready to get into the Aries 2024 horoscope. All right, my beautiful Aries friends, as we are preparing to travel through 2024, we've got some major planetary shifts that are not just major because they will impact you personally, but they impact the world around us, which means that how you engage and how you're going to be able to make moves, offer your services, products, and yourself to the world is infinitely different than it has been in the previous decade. So we really want to focus in on what these outer planets are bringing into the themes of your life, starting with Pluto, who's going to be taking this dance again back into the energy of Aquarius. Now, we've seen Pluto dancing between Capricorn and Aquarius energy, and it's going to still do some dancing here in 2024 before Pluto actually makes its stay to do long-term 20 years worth of time in Aquarius. So you want to understand the dynamics. So as we're coming into the year, we've got Pluto still in the energy of Capricorn, and this has been here lighting up your 10th house space. So Aries, we know as we're traveling throughout 2024, there's still going to be this emphasis on a really big change or a continued change to your career zone. Now, when I say career, I want you to also think 10th house. Think broadly about it, okay? So your career can be the actual work that you do. Maybe you have had a complete destruction or you've had a complete change in direction that is allowing you to rise and be empowered in what you actually do in your career. But this could also be your title. In the last 20 years, have you taken a major change to your title? Were you single and out here trying to mingle like a Pringle? And now you're married. Were you married and now you find yourself in a different position? Were you just you and now you're a grandparent, right? What has been the title change that is also continuing to work out under this energy? But now as Pluto takes this move into the energy of Aquarius, we're going to see that your 11th house gets lit up again. Now I want you to cue back to March of 2023, Aries. What started to happen in your 11th house of friends, social groupings, social media, long-term goals, aspirations that you had for yourself, your connections to organizations. So this gives you a little clue about what 2024 has to offer to you when Pluto gets back into the vibration of Aquarius. And you want to know this because as Pluto makes the moves here, Aries, This is your signal that your social grouping, your friendship grouping, your alignment and understanding of AI, technology, and these kinds of things is going to take a massive overhauling. And this is one of the things I want to remind you, Aries, is that you're a sign that is about big energy, big fire, big warrior, big courage. But sometimes when it does come to changing what you perceive to be a grouping that you're safe in, this can actually be a little bit challenging to you. But I want you to remember that the North Node is also traveling in Aries this year. So your new friends, your new soulmates, the people you need to really unfold your destiny, it's all happening for you right now. It is happening. It is on time. So to the best of your ability, remember that sometimes if a friendship, a social grouping is falling away, it's because it's in its destiny to be falling away, but the universe never leaves a hole. You will have your tribe. You will have this advancement of your technology. You will use technology in different ways, even if it's just because the world says now you have to. So let's talk about those nodes for just a second, Aries, because we do have the nodes traveling with the North Node in Aries, so in your first house, and the South Node over in Libra in your seventh house. Now, the North Node in Aries is pulling you forward. Where are you going? What is your destiny? Where are you to make a name for yourself in this next year? Where are you to say, this is what I believe in, this is what I want, this is where I am willing to be known, I'm willing to have my name put out there. But also, who am I willing to be, and what do I need to look at about myself in my relationships to actually have them work and be nicely in balance? Because that South Node in Libra is working for you, Aries, in the seventh house space. So it's saying something about your relationships, conscious, chosen, one-on-one relationships. It's time for those things to fall out or to fall away in how you have been gauging in those relationships. So as we're traveling this year, I really want to encourage you to activate your relationship with whatever you call a higher power, whatever you call the universe, because as these relationships are changing and some are falling away, or the way that you have interacted in particular relationships really changes, I want you to know that it is this space where you get to see and you get to decide, is this relationship as healthy as I would like it to be? Is this relationship, is there something that I can adjust about me that will improve the health of this relationship? Or is it time for me to let it go? But whatever happens, the universe has got your back. Remember, you cannot mess this thing up, okay? Now, let's continue to talk about you, Aries, because I like that for you. We've got your ruling planet Mars stepping into retrograde this year, so this is pretty important because when Venus or Mars go retrograde, they're so close to us that we really feel the impact of that retrograde. So as we get into December and your ruling planet is going to go retrograde, it's going retrograde in the energy of Leo. So what it tells us is, first of all, there's some big changes happening around children, pleasure, beginning something new, maybe actions you've been taking to begin something new, to put something out there. And this is going to be something that has a big revelation in how you're doing what you're doing or what you desire to be doing as well, Aries. Now, I want to cue you again right here before we're even in 2024. Think back between June and October of 2023 because we had Venus go retrograde in this Leo vibration. So Venus very much so set the tone for you getting a new understanding of what you value in your fifth house, understanding what you value in joy and pleasure, where you're willing to take a risk in expressing your own beautiful creativity. So Venus set the stage and got your heart and got your aesthetics even on board. Now Mars will help you really actuate that, like really manifest it, do it, go for it, but also tweak the strategy if you need to in order to really get something done. I will say, you're going to get a lot of information from the 4 other astrologers who are going to break this down for you, but keep an eye on that Mars retrograde because it can actually be really, really helpful. Jupiter is going to change signs. It's been traveling in your money house, in the second house of Taurus, and it's been cool, right? Like you've made some bigger financial decisions. Maybe you had bigger financial bills come to you in 2023, or you expanded out in your money zone in some way, whether it's that you were able to make more money, you spent more money, you had an expansion of understanding of what you would like your financial life to look like. So we'll continue to travel with that vibration in your second house being nice and expansive until we get to May. In May, on the 26th, Aries, we've got Jupiter moving into the vibration of Gemini. Now we've got Jupiter in air. And air and fire are very compatible energies. They expand each other. So this gives us the cue here, Aries, that as we get into May, we're going to see your social circle, your networking, how you talk, the things that you write about. Maybe you're buying, maybe you're selling something over this next 12 months. We're going to see it get a great expansion. Now, here's a cue for you. You want to go back in your life 12 years ago, because 12 years ago, you had Jupiter in your third house as well, Aries. What was expanding for you? What happened? What were you starting to talk about, teach about? What did you leave behind? Because Jupiter is here to expand it. Jupiter in this third house position for you, Aries, also will bring you a new teacher. Let me say that again. It will bring you a new teacher to show you how to do something. And maybe it's not that you need to learn a whole new skill, but it's how to get it out there, how to communicate it out there, the networks you need to be attached to in order to really expand. Some of you are going to be teachers, and I cannot wait to see you around the block because I know you have something delicious to share. Now, we've got Saturn and Neptune both continuing their journey through the vibration of Pisces through your 12th house space, Aries. So this is nothing less than an absolute understanding for you this year that your ideals and ideas about spirituality, about creativity, about rest, about rejuvenation, about hidden things, whether it is a hidden illness or it is a hidden creative talent or something that you're working on behind the scenes, maybe a secret that you're keeping, whatever it is. With Neptune traveling here, you have some different ideals. Some veil has been lifted where you're like, that won't work for me anymore. I can't make that happen. And Saturn says, okay, Aries, stop talking about it and be about it. Even if you're just working on it behind the scenes, be about it. If you're like, I need more rest, and Saturn and Pisces encourages you this year, Aries, to do less, honey, do less. In order to get your money right, in order to get your spirit right, Saturn and Pisces might be saying, stop talking about it, be about it, do less. Let some things transition out, let things culminate, but absolutely in full capacity, work on your spirit, work on your heart, work on getting clear and creating a beautiful, solid container that you have no doubt that whatever move you make, whether it's in your money, your relationships, or yourself, that you are seated in the hands of the universe, safe and protected. Get that together, Aries, and the rest of the year can just really be divine. Now, we don't want to leave out Uranus over in Taurus because it's going to continue to travel here in the money house. So while Jupiter and Uranus are traveling together before Jupiter leaves in May, you've also got this opportunity where, Aries, you may be making money. You may be engaging in money or creative talents, how you make money using your creative talents in ways you really never thought that you would. Some of them will be in technology. We are in the digital revolution. So some things about that may really include technology, but it may also be bringing up gems and jewels and beautiful skills and talents that you have that you didn't know you could actualize them and turn them into something valuable. Now, I also do think for you, Aries, with Uranus and Taurus here, it gets you a little bit stuck out of any rut that you've had around finances. So this can be really very helpful for you to be like, okay, I've kind of been sitting on this and I haven't made any decisions, or I didn't understand how to innovate my money. This can be really, really useful for you because we're going to have Uranus here all of 2024. So this is one steady energy, just like steady Eddie Taurus, that you can come to count on. Now, remember, as we start to get into the middle of the year per se, right? It's the middle of the year, depending on which calendar you're following. But when we start to get into the time zone between May and June, we're going to start to see our outer planets get ready to take their retrogrades all the way until the end of the year. And that will be the time for you to understand that not only has the world changed and maybe come to a pause and a rest, and you get the opportunity to review, redo, reconnect with everything that you're starting at the beginning of the year and really perfect it, but also that the world is making space for what you have to offer in order to bring it out. Now, my beautiful Aries friends, make sure you go over to stormiegrace.com so that you can also follow along and you can look up a resource list of the new moons, the full moons, the eclipses. What does it mean when it's happening in particular houses for you? You can get your natal chart, you can get your progress chart, your birthday charts, whatever you need, so that you have the tools and resources this year to really make your understanding of astrology work for you. Speak the language of the cosmos. I love that you come listen to me, but I want you to have the kind of year where you go, Stormie's website says that this moon is happening in my 5th house of my personal chart, and this is what it means for me. So go grab your resources. Everything's in the description box down below. But right now, my beautiful Aries friends, I'm going to leave you in the beautiful, capable hands of Mr. Wade Caves.
So the positions of the nodes makes this a pretty busy and active year for Aries sun signs and those with Aries rising. It's a few transits that I think you could definitely take advantage of. Early in the year, in February, Mars moves into Aquarius, which will be in sextile to Aries. Mars is helpful for Aries because Mars rules that sign, and the sextile from Mars can help give a little bit of strength with new ideas and things that you are bringing into fruition that need a little bit of bravery. Same thing in April, Mars will enter into Aries. Now, traditionally, Mars moving over somebody's sun or ascendant is not the most advantageous because it can show places where you might be a little bit impatient or a bit reckless in spending, but it's a bit different when you've got a strong Aries emphasis in your birth chart because this brings the chart ruler back into strong position. We have some positive traction in Gemini in May and July. Jupiter enters Gemini, which will be in sextile again to your sun or ascendant sign. And then with July, Mars and Gemini, both of these could be advantageous for making big changes. And then later in the year in November, Mars in Leo in trine to your natal sun, a good time for new developments. But there are also periods to watch. When Mars enters Capricorn in January, that's going to be in square to your sun. It's often the case that Mars squares to sun or to your ascendant if you're Aries rising can bring some rashness and recklessness you'd want to avoid. March, we have a lunar eclipse in the opposing sign, and then in April, a solar eclipse at 19 degrees of Aries. These are generally things you want to avoid, as well as the Mercury retrograde period in Aries. So that will happen on April 1st and end on April 25th. So probably April's not the period from March 25th until April 25th, a period you want to avoid making big decisions. In September, Mars enters Cancer. So this squares Aries from the other side of what we experienced in January. So Mars in Cancer and square to Aries will bring about some of the more difficult themes related to the ruling planet of Aries. And in October, the solar eclipse in Libra, the opposite side, not ideal. With eclipses, you want to allow, a few weeks on either side. So at least 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after that you just want to take things a little bit at pace. Overall, it's a lot of activity for Aries this year. Once the nodes slip into Pisces and Virgo, I think we'll find ourselves in a position where there's more helpful windows for Aries than otherwise.
Hello, my name is Christopher Renstrom, and I'm here with your 2024 relationship forecasts. Let's begin with the zodiac sign of Aries. Aries has a lot going on with them this year in regards to relationships. Not only is the North Node traveling through your zodiac sign through the entirety of 2024, but also Chiron, the asteroid representing the wounded healer, is traveling through your sign as well. What this means is that there will be a very strong emphasis on you, yourself. Now, you might be like, well, what's new about that? Aren't I always supposed to be thinking about myself? Aren't Aries supposed to be headstrong and full of themselves and all these sorts of things? Well, actually, I found the opposite to be true. Aries, I find, has a tendency to sometimes sometimes suffer from a lack of self-confidence. They want to be in the leadership position, but they don't always feel comfortable taking on the leadership position. They would rather be the soldier trailing behind the leader, maybe boosting the leader when they need that boost of morale, or chastising the leader if they're not living up to their expectations. They'd rather be in that position than to be in the leadership situation itself. This year, the stars will be putting a very strong emphasis on you taking over a leadership position. But what does a leadership position really mean for an Aries? That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be CEO of a company, or you're going to be general of the armed forces, or anything along those lines. What a leadership position, what an authority position talks about is basically dad. Aries is one of the 3 zodiac signs that deal with the father. There's Aries, there's Leo, and then there's Capricorn. And this year, all 3 of those signs will be playing a very active role in your horoscope. In later January, Pluto will move from the zodiac sign of Capricorn into the zodiac sign of Aquarius. And this will signal a shift in energy from you struggling with an authority figure to you actually becoming an authority figure. You kind of had a dress rehearsal with this in the earlier part of last year, but this year in 2024, it begins in earnest. So this is where you really sort of come into your own, but also as an authority figure. An authority figure that people are going to be looking up to as a role model, looking up to emulate, also looking up to chastise and bitch about behind your back if you're not living up to their expectations. This is something that you will be feeling at work, but it's also something you're going to be feeling in your own life. For instance, you may have issues dealing with your own father that are taking place around this early period of 2024. Or you may have issues dealing with the father of a spouse or a partner of yours. These may play a very strong role for you. Then we follow this with the eclipses that are taking place in March and in April. Aries, if you're not in a relationship now, you probably will be around the time of the eclipse. Now, that kind of goes contrary to conventional wisdom in astrology. Eclipses aren't really seen as the time when people get together, or things along those lines. It's more kind of like a lot of suppressed or unconscious energy comes to the fore. But what I've seen in the work that I've done in recent years is that actually a lot of times eclipses bring relationships. And when you remember that the rulers of the eclipses, the lunar eclipse in March is ruled by Venus, which is in a water sign, Pisces. And also the solar eclipse on April 8th is ruled by Mars, which is in a water sign, Pisces. This is pointing to a very strong emotional energy and a very strong emotional bonding that's taking place. So this is something that I would expect to happen. Now, as you can imagine, this is going to press all kinds of buttons for Aries. Aries prefers to be the person who runs to the rescue of someone in trouble rather than sharing relationship space with someone else. Indeed, the idea of showing someone your weakness is one of the perennial problems of people born under the astrological sign of Aries, something that is being exacerbated by Chiron being in your sign throughout the year. What this eclipse is asking you to do is to show you your partner's needs, to show your partner your needs, and to show your partner your vulnerabilities without grousing about it or being resentful in some sort of way. You don't have to be tough all the time any more than you have to be optimistic or can do. Now, this is going to be a very interesting reflection on you because Aries is what I often call coach dad. You come into people's lives to sort of get them up and going and to be better versions of what they are. But that doesn't necessarily include you. You're in charge of that. So a partner or a romantic attachment sort of asking you about you and what they can do to sort of help you be a better you might be something that you scoff at first. But by the time that we get to the second eclipse in the fall, it's something that you may be becoming more open to as an idea. Now, in September, from September to, it's September 1st to November 19th, Pluto will come back down into Capricorn. And again, this will bring up father issues very, very strongly in your life. How you play a father issue. And this includes women, by the way. Lots of men take on mothering roles and lots of women take on fathering roles. And so again, this might be a very powerful trigger for you from September 1st to November 19th. And it's something to be aware of, not in terms of repressing or controlling, but doing the opposite. Ask yourself, what piece of armor can you take off? How can you show vulnerability in a way that's meaningful and bonding? Things that make you like, but things that are necessary in order to have a successful relationship with another person. Finally, your ruling planet Mars turns retrograde in Leo, the zodiac sign of the good father, on December 6th, and it will remain there until February 24th. And again, this will bring up questions about your relationship to people in authority. And this can be professional, but it can also be dealing with parents or older siblings. So the way that you manage these situations, the way that you sort of introduce yourself as a parent into these situations, maybe you're parenting your parent at this time, or maybe if you were the youngest sibling in a family hierarchy, you're taking on a more older sibling role. These are things that will be interesting when they come up. They will be challenging, they will be provocative, but more importantly, they will be empowering and they will help you to grow.
Hey Aries, welcome to your 2024 medical astrology forecast. And I'm going to keep it really short and sweet for you. You just want to be very mindful this year that the North Node is moving through your first house and the South Node is moving through your seventh house. And so what we want to be mindful of is that the first house represents the physical body in medical astrology. And so when the North Node comes, there can be an excessive amount of energy happening there. Yeah. And also the South Node being in the seventh house means that since there's an excessive amount of energy that we're feeling that we might be giving out and leaking and dispersing, the South Node in the seventh house means we might be potentially being depleted by some of the connections and relationships that we're in this year. Now, something else you want to be mindful of is that Saturn is going through your 12th house, which is the house of mental health and medical astrology as well. But Saturn is tending to be in this joy in the 12th house, which means it's kind of comfortable there. And I know sometimes the 12th house sounds kind of scary to some people, but the 12th house is the house of self-undoing. And so we want to consciously undo ourselves, allow ourselves to unravel and let go of things. And as a Aries rising, oftentimes we can have the energy of go, go, go. And we want to chill that out this year. So one thing that I'm inviting all Aries risings into this year is a very simple practice. And this practice is to put your hands behind your head in this manner. And what we do is we close our eyes. I'm going to keep my eyes open, but we close our eyes and we simply turn our eyes to the right and we hold it there until we yawn or we swallow. And then we bring our eyes back forward. And then we bring our eyes to the left. Again, until we yawn or swallow. Or if you have it on a timer, maybe do it for 3 minutes. And then you bring your eyes back forward again. And just let that relaxation drop over you. So just a real quick, simple, easy, fast, and dirty way to go about it. So my invitation is, in this present moment, allow yourself to go through that practice and see how it feels. And let me know how you're feeling. And also, if you have anything going on with you already from a medical perspective, then feel free and reach out and get a full consultation, because that's the only way to truly know how severe something is or is not. So again, being mindful that this is a general projection and overall overview for all Aries risings. Have a blessed year. Peace.
Hey Aries, this is Tiffany Harlick, and I'm here to give you your spiritual astrology forecast for 2024. It's my intention to give you clear, concise, and accurate information to help you with some self-growth opportunities this year. Real quick, my promise to you, again, is to deliver clear, concise, and accurate information with heart-centered delivery to the best of my ability. And your promise to me is just to follow your free will, to follow your heart, and to never use astrology against yourself. So your theme for 2024 Aries is all about relationships. This is where you're going to have the most amount of personal growth opportunities is within the lens of relationships. Krishna Das describes it like this. It's just about polishing the mirror of your heart, right? Because we're all just these reflections of each other. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities in 2024 to witness contrast, to witness the dark and the light, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. There will be opportunities to learn through these polarities and opposites. So this is all about progress, not perfection. This is a year of integration. This is a year of understanding through contrasts. So if you see things that feel unbalanced, I would ask you to just stay curious about that. Why does this feel unbalanced to me? What seems a little bit off here? And what can I learn about myself through this situation? And just don't give up before the miracle happens. Okay, your mantras, Aries. I'm in right relationship with myself, which makes everything else better than okay. I'm aligning with the best version of myself one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and one response at a time. When I'm centered, happy, and neutral, I attract right relationships of all kinds. Your ruling planet is Mars, and so your spiritual forecast is going to incorporate the transits of Mars. Mars is one of your primal motivating factors in helping you decide how you want to work with your energy this year. And so how can you rise to the occasion of your inner Mars from a spiritual development opportunity lens? You know, Mars is a spiritual warrior. So I'm asking, what wars are you going to stop fighting inside of yourself? Where are you going to stop beating yourself up? And knowing that fighting is a form of accepting it or tolerating it. So let's go into your quarters. So this is just at a glance. In the bigger scheme of relationships, we're also going to be breaking it down into spiritual vision, health, and some buried treasure. So let's start in Q1 with a main focus on relationships. Okay, in January is a 9-month in the numerology, and this is all about integration, assimilation, letting things come together for digestion. So this isn't like this fresh new start feeling of a new year. It's more about really integrating all that you're bringing with you in 2024. You might want to do some kind of vision board about what you're integrating, what all the different pieces of yourself that you want to bring forward in 2024. The first half of the month looks really good with the Mars forecast. There's flow. Mars is going to sextile Saturn and trine Jupiter. This is just the next right thing, not the next thing right. And then there's challenges, maybe the second half of January. So being aware that we're all healed until we're triggered. We're all in the state of grace until we have that one thing that trips our system. And so be aware that second half of January, as Mars squares Chiron in the nodes, trines Uranus, that there might be some challenges. Mars representing the masculine and Chiron, of course, the wounded healer. So knowing that some pieces of your medicine bag may have to do with healing wounds from early childhood, paying attention to the inner child, things like this may be cropping up for you in January. In February, the numerology shifts to a 1, and this is all about focus. And so it is important to have good focus, and it helps you with your ability to be inspired, to see clearly, and have your purpose and your vision out in front of you. But sometimes with that 1 energy, we can get kind of like blinders on. And so we need to just be clear with other people if we need time to focus, right? Just to be communicating all the expectations out there. The first half of February, Mars, you know, your ruling planet that offers so much energy is going to be in a positive position to Neptune. Neptune is kind of like the great yoga teacher in the sky. It's the part that we just fade into the mystic. It's the part of us that's very intuitive and creative. And so you may find the first half of February that your spidey senses are on, that you're feeling more creative, that you're wanting to spend more time with your muse. And then Mars will conjunct Pluto in Aquarius on the 11th. And I just wanted you to be aware of this because, excuse me, not on the 11th, in your 11th house. I wanted you to be aware of this first 2 weeks of February in case you're wanting to network or join some new groups or get some perspective on relationships through the lens of your network, the people that you hang out with. Okay, and in March, this might be like the pinnacle month for you to be aware of the theme of relationships. It is a 2-month in the numerology, which is about relationships, not just the relationship we have with our significant other or our pets or our children or our best friends, but the relationship that we have with the unseen world. So between the seen and the unseen, between the physical and the spiritual. Mars will have gone from Capricorn into Pisces. We skipped Aquarius. So Mars will have gone from Capricorn into Aquarius into Pisces here by March. And so I know that there's going to be a focus on the spiritual path by the time we get to March. And so the first 2 weeks of March, Mars will sextile the North Node in Chiron. That's good, positive flow. And then as it squares Uranus, there can be a plot twist. There could be something big that comes to your attention, your awareness, and you see what you're really wanting to change. So it's important to do some discovery about yourself and your relationships so that you can be eyes wide open by the time this plot twist comes around the middle of March. Now, at the end of March, we have our first eclipse of the year, and it's on the 25th in 5 degrees of Libra. And this is in your 7th house, where we typically find information about our significant other. This could also be a business partner, but typically we are looking at somebody that you are very close to that will show you more information about yourself. So some self-development activities for the first quarter of the year. I've broken them down each quarter into meditation, stewardship, and an activity you can do. So for your meditation, maybe you want to create a new playlist. Maybe you want to download a different meditation app. Maybe you want to play with some new music or some sound bowls or some sound bath healing, something like that. I included a couple of my favorite songs I listen to in the morning over there for you to play with. In terms of stewardship, do you want to start developing your psychic gifts? You know, early in February, when you're feeling more when you're feeling more intuitive, know this, you know, our senses extend into the spiritual realm. So sometimes we smell, see, hear, taste, and feel things, or just know things that are in the unseen world. And starting to understand that so that you're not afraid of that could be a really wise use of your stewardship, the wise use of your own natural gifts. We were all born wise. It's just a matter of if you want to develop them, how you want to develop them, and who you want to develop them with, right? So if you're starting out with psychic development, something my teacher taught me is stick with a teacher for at least 1 year. That way you can get a good foundation before branching out, because there are a lot of opportunities out there. And this will help you just get your foundation and start your development process. The activity, you know, maybe get on Pinterest and do some kind of vision board to integrate all of the different aspects that you want to bring into 2024. And I have a recommendation for you, The Mastery of Love, to read that one by Don Miguel Ruiz. So a book recommendation to go with this quarter. Cool. All right. Your eclipse support themes this quarter are going to be in the 1st and 7th house axis. So feel free to grab a screenshot. This 1st and 7th house axis has to do with the sacred unification within my soul, the sacred divine masculine and feminine inside of me, so that I can be fully aware, aligned with that thing inside of me before I go out and expect to find it in the world. So, you know, the eclipses can show us some things about ourselves that, you know, are really coming up from buried treasure from the past. It can change things in a dime. It can feel like a lot of heated energy around this time at the end of March. And so just be aware of some of these issues around self-acceptance, some codependency themes, emotionally charged relationships. And knowing that, you know, to ask yourself, where have I been playing small, or where have I been downsizing or upsizing or changing my energy to try to meet something else? And where can I just be balanced inside myself? Another one to look at during this month would be a relationship inventory this quarter. And so this is one that I personally use. If I'm upset at you, I know that I've got 3 fingers pointing back at me. So if I am disturbed, there's something that I can do about it. And this is what I personally do. I didn't write this inventory. Again, the purpose is to understand yourself and to know yourself, not to figure out what somebody else's motives are. But if you want to take the time to journal through these questions, right, you would then share it with a closed mouth friend, get it out of your system, say, do you see anything else that I'm missing here? Maybe sleep on it, meditate, pray about it, and then turn it over and see if you get some new ideas or insights in the morning. Now, if you're not upset or bothered this quarter, that's awesome. If you're cruising, Aries, it's something that you could do on a more regular basis is just to check in with the people that you love. How's it going between us? What's going well? Is there anything that you can see that would be room for improvement? And have I been of service to you? Is there some way that I could be of service better? In the second quarter, I'm suggesting that you connect into your spiritual vision. And I love this word, right? It has spirit and it has ritual in it. And our spiritual vision comes from the third eye. It comes from the heart center. It comes from developing your psychic senses. And so if you are working on those February, March, you're going to have a stronger approach to your spiritual vision as you come into this second quarter. So in April, this is one of the bigger months of the year, okay? And I'm feeling like you're going to have this new purpose, this pivot, this interest, this new calling. It's a 3 in the numerology, which is more creative, right? More outwardly focused. And boy, is there a lot going on in the skies. Mercury is retrograde all month in your first house. The eclipse is happening in your first house. And so there's some kind of rectification or reconciliation within yourself, with your identity, with who you are, with how you shine in this world. So you're going to have to get right with yourself, right? On the 10th, Mars is going to be right next to Saturn, another opportunity to recommit to yourself and cut away the things that aren't working for you to get very strategic, disciplined, and focused. On the 20th, one of the biggest transits of the year is the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And this falls in Taurus, which would be in your second house of money. And so if you are looking to change real estate, if you're looking to buy something, if you're looking big, if you're looking for some financial windfalls, you would be best served studying these opportunities as you're getting closer and closer to that conjunction, which then fades away a little bit towards the end of April. And then on the 29th, Mars will conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And that is one of the reasons that I feel like the spiritual vision is going to be one of your biggest gifts this quarter. What really is spiritual vision, right? It's taking time to be quiet, to listen, to meditate, to look, to see, to try to understand something that is beyond just us and beyond what we know and beyond this physical realm. In May, we've got a 4 in the numerology, and the 4 is about being still and stable. It's about riding the surfboard where all the waves are going crazy around you. That 4 is about just being solid and concrete and reliable. Now, Mars will move into Aries towards the end of April. And so, right, Mars in your sign, this is still an opportunity to do some self-awareness checks, some self-editing, some discovering more about yourself, again, through the lens of relationship. On the 3rd, Mars will sextile Pluto, right? And Mars gives us that drive, that purpose, that motivation. And Pluto helps us see what needs to be changed, what needs to be regenerated, what goes beyond, right, our normal understanding. Towards the end of the month, Mars will conjunct the North Node, which shows us our destiny, our purpose, where we want to go, our life's calling, right? And Chiron, our medicine bag that gets us through some of life's biggest challenges. And so you might find a new purpose or a new sense of answering a new calling here at the end of May. In June, it's a 5-month in the numerology, and that's where we feel very distracted, right? We can be easily distracted, I'll say, with a 5. And so you want to be careful to not overcommit your time or energy. On June 3rd, so you're going to feel this all of May. It'll be building, 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 and then release on June 3rd. Jupiter's trining Pluto. That's a big leap of faith for all of us. This is that opportunity, as above, so below. As you think so shall you be, right? So really using that spiritual vision to your advantage. Mars is going to enter Taurus there at the end of the month, in June 9th through July 20th. And it's going to be in a challenging position to Pluto. So checking in with that initial question about Mars, what wars are you going to stop fighting within yourself? When we stop fighting, when we drop the rope, there's peace. You know, you can say to the people that feel like maybe are defensive in your world, like, hey, I love you so much. I'm not going to argue with somebody that I love so much. These are the type of things that you could be saying. In terms of self-development, I really want you to consider the Silva meditation. The Silva method provides a training. You can get free, you can get paid versions. But Jose Silva was born in El Paso, Texas, and he came up with this beautiful way of training the mind, focusing the mind to use your spiritual vision. It's very specific. It's a very clear technique. And the coolest thing about it is he says it doesn't work at all unless you're using it in a way that uplifts other people. So kind of a manifestation technique, but also helps you with that spiritual vision. In terms of your stewardship, I think it would be great to check in with your finances if you need to have a phone call with your CPA or just ask some discovery questions, look at your budget, review some of your rates, maybe your worth, where you're getting your sense of identity and your self-worth. This would be an interesting time of the year to be looking at that. And then in terms of an activity, right, that inner child that lives with us our whole lives, if you want to look at childhood photos, if you want to reconnect to that inner child version of yourself and do some reparenting where you could write them a letter, you could write them a promise note, you could write them a thank you. You can do a meditation where you bring them into your heart, right? Say, I choose you first. I love you above all else. Reparenting yourself in some way. And then also checking in with that financial stewardship. A book you could work with is The Warrior of Light by Paulo Coelho. And I like this style book because it's just these short blips, this little pieces of information. So you can flip through and just get like a little nugget at any time and get a different takeaway every time you look at it. In the third quarter, I'm suggesting that this would be a good time to check in with your health. So in July, it's a 6th month in the numerology, which feels much more like nesting and going within and being nurtured. This is a month for intuitive self-care for you, Aries. The first half of the month, there's a lot of energy for you available for creative change. So staying open to futuristic solutions, things that are going to work that differently if you come about it from a different angle. Mars is going to be right next to Uranus in the sky. Uranus is that great awakener, right? It's the shifter, it's the lightning bolt, it's the Einstein energy. And so you want to be careful and play it safe, but this is happening in your second house of finances. So if you have done some of those budget check-ins and financial check-ins, this could really work in your favor, right? You could pay something off quickly. There can be all kinds of good news that can come of this. Mars will move into Gemini July 20th through September 4th. And in Gemini is all about decisions and dualities. The energy of Mars in Gemini is very chatty, very this or that. And so as you're working through some of your spiritual development activities, journaling, talking things out, getting different perspectives, not making sure, solid, absolute decisions, but going kind of back and forth and getting more information. Gemini is about learning. It's about transmitting information. It's about discovering and taking classes, things like this. In August, the numerology changes to a 7, and the 7 is really about a soul quest. This is more like reading Hafiz and Rumi up in your bedroom than it is about being out in the public. And this is good because in August, you have a huge opportunity to do a health reset with Mercury retrograde going through your 6th and 5th houses. So reconnecting to health in a way that's fun for you. So instead of maybe joining a gym and doing everything specifically with a specific routine, how can you just have fun by working out? Do you want to pick up tennis again? Do you want to try horseback riding? Do you want to, what is the fun way that you can access to improve your health this quarter? Mars is going to sextile the North Node and conjunct Jupiter, then square Saturn. So in August, there's some mixed information in the skies, and one door closes and the other one opens. And around this time, Jupiter squares Saturn. Jupiter shows us our biggest dreams, our wildest moments, our bucket list items. And then Saturn shows us where we really need to kind of keep it realistic, where we have responsibilities and duties. And when they are square each other, this provides a really challenging dynamic. It feels like there's inner tension. It feels like we're not sure whether to go or to stay, or when to hold them and when to fold them. And this energy will come back to give us more information in December. So just be aware of some of those tensions going on and take care of your health. In September, we've got an 8-month. And I'm calling this more about buried treasure. So this is a double 8-month because we're in an 8-year. And so the 8 is the infinity symbol. And just know this, in September, what goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up. Play it safe the first half of September. When Mars in the sky squares Neptune, that cosmic yoga teacher, that one who knows no boundaries, who dissolves in order to evolve, just know that it's better to play it safe, to watch out for your elders, your littles, and your pets. Go slow. This can be a time where things are confusing, when things are a little bit more hazy, when more will be revealed, right? So just go slow this first half of September. Knowing that when Mars moves into Cancer, you might also be wanting to do some home edits, some feng shui, some taking care of your nest, this whole quarter, nest and health. On the 18th, we have our second eclipse here, which falls in the 12th house of the supernatural. So the 12th house is known as the house of troubles, but you can always turn your troubles into some sort of reconciliation, and it can become the house of redemption. So during this health reset month, I want to invite you to create a spiritual healers list, and that's something that you can access all year long. I was really robust with my suggestions here, but basically this is anybody that you want to work with mind, body, spirit, health, any places you want to visit that would be beneficial for your well-being, and anything that you want to have on hand at your home. In the self-development of this quarter, I'm inviting you to check out the Ho'oponopono prayer. And if you haven't read the research on this, it is fascinating what has been done with it. But it goes like this, and you can use it for yourself or for other people out there, but ultimately it's this interior reconciliation inside yourself. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you just do it inside, you do it towards yourself. The stewardship is really about your body. How can you be a good steward to your own physical health, your own mental and emotional health? Do you need to learn about the aura and the protective system of the aura and the physical body? Do you need to learn more about that mind-body connection? And then your activity is to really have a list of your go-to creature comforts that are also healthy for you. You could also do some Pinterest or vision boards with some fun home edits going on this quarter. In terms of the creature comforts that are healthy for me, this helps me so much when I will get the groceries and make a list and say, here are the menu items that are available, and not have to make a decision in the moment that I'm hungry, but be aware of what we have on hand that sounds good, and I can just pick from there. So that's kind of what I meant by that one. My book suggestion for you this quarter is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I got the paperback, and I couldn't really get through it, but once I listened to it on Audible, it was great. And there's meditations in there that I will walk with, or I'll sit in meditation with, and it's wonderful for working with that 12th house activation that you have going on. Here's a little bit more about the sacred reunification of your soul in terms of the 6th house, your health through routine, and the 12th house, the supernatural side of you. You might notice that some of your habits or things that you used to really, really love aren't giving you the same pleasure anymore. And some of that's sliding away. You might be aware of some guilt or shame that's coming up that you're not really needing to carry around anymore. You might be aware of some self-sabotage themes. Like, are you willing to make some adjustments and not self-sabotage this quarter? And can you see that some of your sensitivities are some of your biggest gifts? So feel free to take a screenshot and journal through those. As we move into the fourth quarter, we're talking about buried treasure. For October, this is a 9-month again, integration, just like January. And right off the bat, you're going to have another eclipse in the 7th house of relationships, your bigger theme for the year. The first half of October, I'm suggesting some mechanical repairs. This is a great time to check in about your car, your house, your electronics, your technology, things that need an upgrade or some attention or just some routine maintenance. And as you do these things, out in the physical world, it does help on the interior castle here. So the things that you are good stewards of does have an effect on your energy. Are you driving around in a junked up car, or are you taking care of it to the best of your ability? Are you letting stuff pile up at home, or are you cleaning out the energy, playing good music, freshening things up, keeping some plants watered, right? All of this has an effect on your energy and your spiritual development. Towards the end of the month, another plot twist is available for you there in October. So, check in with the skies and see what the trick-or-treat forecast is. Mars will be in an interesting sextile there to Uranus, and it trines Neptune. So a moment to connect with your muse, a moment to connect back into your spiritual gifts and surprise yourself and let some of your no's turn into wows, right? I have so many fun, juicy stories about no's to wows in psychic development. And this is where you can really learn them and learn those techniques. Okay, in November, this is a 1 month. And the 1 month is about focus. It's about precision. It's about staying on task. And just be careful that you don't have to put blinders on. This is about connecting into your power source, right? Your higher power. I want you to stay flexible. And I thought it was kind of Scorpio of me to put purging and praying on there. But what you're seeing here is Mars in the sky, right, is opposing Pluto. And I think there's going to be some power struggles. I think you're going to notice feeling pulled in two directions. Yet Mars will trine the North Node. And if you listen to your gut and you listen to your heart and you're staying plugged into your power source and not anybody else's, and you are deconditioning from the world that has tried to form you and give you ideas and make you think from your mind instead of your heart and body, right? If you stay plugged into that power source, you're going to be fine, because Mars trine the North Node is going to show you this is the way for you. Mars will move into Leo there on the 4th for the rest of the year. And the Mercury retrograde cycle will be in your 9th house, right? The 9th house has to do with our philosophies, our belief systems, the journeys we take overseas. And so you might be really interested in a pilgrimage or some kind of travel that has to do with a meditation or yoga retreat or something like this could be of interest to you. In December, it's a 2 month, so a last opportunity of the year to look at the relationship theme. And as Mars retrogrades, it'll be in your 4th house of home and family and your 5th house of creativity, of children, of having fun, of lightening up, right? And so sometimes with spiritual development, we can get so intense, or sometimes with astrology, we can get so particular. But at the end of the day, right, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So use this retrograde cycle, that it's a double one here, Mercury and Mars retrograde at the end of the year, to review and cut out the things that are just too much, too heavy, right? Yes, keep your responsibilities intact, but maybe there's an opportunity to remind yourself to have fun, that this is your dream life, right? And there at the end of December, yes, we will have that Jupiter-Saturn square again that will show us some of those inner tensions where we're having to reconcile some of those growing pains with what we have to do with what we want to do. Okay. So your self-development for this month is to try some breath work. You could sign up for a class. You could find some free thing to download on YouTube or Insight Timer, something like that. A simple way to work with the breath work is the box breath, where you inhale for 4 to 6 counts, you pause for the same amount, 4 to 6 counts, you exhale for 4 to 6 counts, you pause for 4 to 6 counts. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, 3, 4. And that's the box breath. That will help you get centered, help calm your nervous system down. The stewardship I mentioned was about the maintenance, whether it's with your car or your computer or your home, or even if it's public transportation, if you're needing to renew some tickets, if you're needing to clean out like the air filters, things like this. Maintenance of your home, being a good steward of the place where you live is important. And an activity for you to consider is to review the open centers of your human design chart. So you may not have your human design chart. If you want one, there's a free one at mybodygraph.com. But if not, these are for the open centers. So if you have an open head, you're going to ask this question: does it matter? Does it concern me at this moment? If you have an open ajna, you're going to ask, do I feel like I need to be certain about this? But I find that they're really good for anybody. So it's a great list of questions for your self-development as you are reflecting on the year, Aries. And because of the breathwork suggestion, there's some really cool modern books about breath out there, but this is the one that is my go-to that I absolutely love, and it's Science of the Breath. It was introduced to me during yoga school, and I think it's a phenomenal, very classic book on breathing. So we made it through the end of the year. I'm so glad to be with you. I have one more slide after the resources here. I'm Tiffany Harlick. You can find free handouts, articles. You can find information about my bees or my astrology newsletter or sessions there. I have some outside resources listed for you. And if you're interested in my digital astrology calendar, please use the code Stormie2024 to get $10 off. I've written it for 7 years, and it goes into all of the aspects, the planetary aspects, the lunations, the ingresses. If you're new to astrology, it's great because you can click on the title of each one and it'll expand and show you a description of what that transit means. And there's also an emoji. So there's a sun emoji if it's a good vibe day, or an umbrella emoji if it's like a lay low kind of day. If you'd like to work with me to become a certified astrologer, I'm offering that in 2024 at the Lisa Williams School, and I offer a metaphysical membership. So I would love to hang out with you. I'd love for you to check out the calendar and learn astrology this year. It comes in 6 languages. And ultimately, Aries, you're here to love yourself. You're here to know yourself. And if you do nothing else this year, just follow your heart. It has been an honor and privilege to serve you in this capacity. And until next time, guys, namaste.